honoring fallen police and peace officers.
Those sacrifices are never forgotten.
Thousands gather on Parliament Hill for the 48th annual Canadian Police and Peace Officers Memorial Service. A unique look inside the historic Rideau Hall.
Things like this just really shows, everyone's commitment to reconciliation.
Tourists and locals welcomed inside as part of the events leading up to the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. And a celebration in the sky.
It was, I would do it again right now.
Meet the Gatineau woman celebrating her 75th birthday by jumping out of a plane, all to support an important cause. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. It was a stark and poignant reminder of the dangers of the job to protect and serve. Thousands gathering on Parliament Hill this morning for the 48th annual Canadian Police and Peace Officers Memorial. CTV's Natalie Van Roy is back from the memorial and joins us with more on this. Natalie.
Austin, it was an emotional day on Parliament Hill. Officers came from right across the country to mark this day, which honors those killed in the line of duty. Thousands of Canadian police and peace officers from across the country marching to Parliament Hill Sunday morning.
This is the most important day that we have annually. It is so important. We must make sure that those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, their families that continue to live the ultimate sacrifice, that those sacrifices are never forgotten.
A show of solidarity to honor those killed on the job. The service held on Parliament Hill, the site where decisions are made that impact officer safety.
This gathering is solemn, yes, but it's also a testament to hope. Hope that our shared commitment will bring comfort to families.
It's a chance for families to remember their loved ones.
As, a child who's lost their mom 25 years ago, and these events really keep her memory alive. It's important for me as her daughter to continue her legacy.
Very sad for us to we remember no matter what every day. But this is also a way for us to come together and feel the support, care, and compassion from all the police services that come together. The service paying tribute to 912 officers with the addition of 3 historical names this year.
Lance Corporal John Baker, Canadian Forces Military Police Group. Acting Sergeant George Cook, Canadian Forces Military Police Group. And Constable Craig Town, Thunder Bay Police Service.
The glass panels on Parliament Hill now hold the names of 912 officers who died while serving their communities. Also noted, no new names added for 2024.
I'm grateful for that. The challenge is that this is a very risky job. Our members are being asked to respond to dynamic incidents that they often know very little about.
And the firing of the gun, then the laying of the wreaths. As they honored those killed making the ultimate sacrifice, all of the officers marching past the families left behind. And the 28 glass panels with all 912 names overlook the Ottawa River and the Supreme Court of Canada, a poignant reminder of those killed in the line of duty. Austin.
Okay, CTV's Natalie Van Roy reporting live for us tonight. Natalie, thank you very much for this. Well, plenty of Starbucks locations right across Canada shut down this weekend. It's part of the company's billion-dollar restructuring strategy. But employees and customers are taking issue with the lack of notice before the hundreds of stores close down. CTV's Kamal Karamali reports.
This Starbucks location near one of the busiest intersections in Toronto closing its doors for good today. One of dozens of Starbucks stores across the country shutting down.
It's a staple in the neighborhood. It was one of the first ones, and it's disappointing that they're closing.
Starbucks said it is closing 1% of its North American stores. That equates to roughly 400 locations, laying off around 900 non-retail employees, shutting down stores where they were unable to create the physical environment our customers and partners expect, or where we don't see a path to financial performance. Starbucks wouldn't say how many Canadian locations are closing, but employees have confirmed dozens of stores are shutting down across the country. Retail analysts say they saw these closures coming after sales had been dropping for 6 straight quarters, with people no longer as keen to pay higher prices for coffee.
The value proposition has diminished. I mean, there's a lot of competitors now who are more, I mean, Tim Hortons is the most famous in Canada, and the coffee is very, very significantly less expensive on a per cup basis.
Starbucks says it still operates more than 18,000 locations across North America while working to improve the design of about 1,000 of those. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
And here in Ottawa, at least 9 Starbucks locations appear to have closed. They're no longer on the store locators section of the Starbucks website. They've also been listed as permanently closed on Google. Those locations are spread right across the city. It's not known how many jobs here in the capital are impacted. We do have more information about the closures and exactly which locations have closed on our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca. Well, the minimum wage in 5 provinces, including here in Ontario, will be on the rise next month. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, and PEI will all see hikes for the minimum wage as of October 1st. Increases range from 20 cents to $1.30, and here in Ontario, minimum wage is rising to $17.60 per hour. That reflects a 40-cent increase. All provinces have raised their rates this year as Canadians continue to struggle with the high cost of living. We're going to take our first look at the weather forecast now, and that spell of beautiful weather that we've been experiencing, it continues, and it's going to continue for the foreseeable future here, at least the next 7 days. Right now, sitting at 23 degrees, no clouds in the sky, pretty much blue sky everywhere you look here across the city, dipping below double digits. However, tonight, 8 degrees is the low here in Ottawa, 5 in Bancroft, and that's going to be the cool spot. Over the course of tonight, 7 degrees is the low in Gatineau. We are warming up once again tomorrow, and a beautiful day on the horizon. 26 degrees to kick off that work week here in the capital. 25 in Trenton, Kingston, 26 in Brockville. Same goes for Gatineau, but look at those clear sky conditions right across our region. You love to see it. Rideau Hall welcomed visitors to tour the historic site. It's part of a special Doors Open event this afternoon, marking the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. CTV's Camille Wilson was there. She was speaking with visitors. Camille, what more can you tell us?
Austin, as we approach National Day of Truth and Reconciliation on the 30th, the Governor General, who is Inuit, opened the doors to visitors of all ages to participate in various activities at Rideau Hall to show their commitment to the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action.
I think it actually goes right there.
Miriam Van Nee and Aviva Hoffman-Shaw stopping by Rideau Hall Sunday morning to learn and reflect.
Something that's really special with the current Governor General, who's Inuit herself. So just to see what that looks like in Rideau Hall, so mixing that indigeneity with the sort of, the particular history of this space and this place.
The pair, along with dozens of others, touring the historic building for its Doors Open event, leading up to the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation.
Indigenous identity. Growing up in Ottawa and in Canada, there's a lot that we did not learn. And so as adults, becoming more aware and trying to unlearn and relearn and coming to terms and deciding to take next steps is a big part of being an adult.
Throughout the residence, Indigenous artwork is on display, giving visitors a chance to learn about healing through art.
I think more than just reading and learning, to go into a space and have that around you and feel as though you are committing to something and moving forward. It becomes more impactful and it, sort of gets into you a little more.
The Doors Open event encourages visitors to reflect on the 10 years that have passed since the release of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's final report, and to continue reconciliation in the years to come.
Doing things like this just really shows everyone's commitment to reconciliation and to honoring, the survivors as well as those who were affected by residential schools.
Decorating paper hearts showing everyone's commitment to reconciliation and the 94 calls to action.
We didn't learn about residential schools when we were kids, and we feel that it's really important for kids to recognize the truth behind the really negative impacts of colonization and what happened to Indigenous children.
The National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada is on Tuesday, honoring survivors of the residential school system and their families while highlighting Canada's dark history and ongoing impacts of the residential school system. Austin.
Okay, Camille, thank you very much for this. CTV's Camille Wilson reporting live for us tonight. Well, the Ottawa Humane Society held its biggest fundraiser of the year, and it brought hundreds of thousands of dollars to the charity. It was also a chance for people to get involved in the Wiggle and Waggle Walk and Run at Lansdowne today. It's a crucial time for them as well. CTV's Kimberly Johnson is back in studio with more on this. Tough to say wiggle waggle, I guess, for me, but lots of fun.
Yeah, and Austin, the Ottawa Humane Society says right now they have more than 400 animals in their care, and the need is growing. So this annual event is crucial. And speaking with members of the community, they say they're happy to lend a hand or a paw.
Excited pets take to the sidewalk of Lansdowne's Great Lawn, where every step with their owners supports the Ottawa Humane Society.
It's good to see so many people out celebrating them.
Crossing the 5-kilometer finish line with her dog Argo, Alana McCullough Ald says that this is their second year at the Wiggle Waggle Walk and Run.
I've always loved animals and felt very passionately about making sure every animal gets to live their best life. Being able to go for a run that's dog friendly and also support a cause like that is pretty awesome.
The annual event is the Ottawa Humane Society's largest fundraiser of the year. Organizers say 1,400 people and 500 dogs registered this year, walking and running for the cause, raising more than $230,000 in the process.
So many rescues now since the end of COVID. People have been returning their animals to the Humane Society, so there's a real need.
The organization's president says that funding is coming at a crucial time, just as the Canada Post strike puts a stop to mail-in fundraising.
Never more has our community needed us as much. We've got clients reaching out for food for their pets. We've got clients reaching out because they can't afford veterinary care. We've got people surrendering animals because they can't afford to provide the care that they need. Our goal is to be there.
This week alone, 19 kittens were brought into the shelter after being found in a box, part of more than 40 cats that were handed over in a single day.
We're all just friends that have been brought together by our dogs meeting in the neighborhood, and we're called Pink Puppy Club.
Olivia Crook-Simiana and her crew are walking today to help support dogs like Tucker, who was adopted out of the north almost a decade ago.
I think it shows that it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish. And he had a rough go in the beginning, but obviously he's here today and he's a very happy boy. It shows that when you come together, you can change a dog's life, and it changes yours as well.
The Humane Society says they are still taking donations through their website. A link can be found on ctvnewsottawa.ca. Austin?
Okay, Kimberly, thank you very much for this. CTV's Kimberly Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Well, the Ottawa 67s, they're back on home ice this afternoon, or rather were back on home ice, kicking off another OHL season after a couple of road games. Today, fans packed the stands to welcome their team home in what could be one of their final home openers at the arena at TD Place. And that's where we find CTV's Josh Morano live at the arena following another exciting contest. Josh.
Yeah, Austin, we are down here at ringside where fans just wrapped up a free skate with some of the members of the team. They were also treated to a pretty exciting game with the 67 staying hot. We'll get more about the game later. Yes, this arena is nearly 60 years old, and with city councillors expected to vote on Lansdowne 2.0 within the next number of weeks, fans I spoke with before the game told me they are cherishing this game a little more than any other home opener. It's a historic day for Matt Mariner, carrying on a family tradition of attending another Ottawa 67's home opener.
My family's been coming since 67. My dad was actually a second-generation season ticket holder and my grandpa. It just became a family atmosphere. It was something I looked forward to every Friday or Sunday.
Mariner has been a lifelong fan, attending as many games a year as he can with his wife,
Both say they're excited to see the start of a new season.
I think these new guys have a lot to show, and they're going to show us that we're going to go far this year. I can see it happening.
We're going far this year.
They're not alone. Hundreds of fans thrilled to welcome back their team with high expectations.
We have season tickets for every year for 5 years now. And yeah, it's just good to come out and see the guys, see how they're going to do.
It's really exciting to see the 67s. Fully good new team.
But earlier this year, the city picked up talks surrounding Lansdowne 2.0, a plan to build a new arena, replacing the ice surface under the stands at TD Place, meaning this could be one of the final home openers at the arena.
I'm going to shed some tears when this place closes. I'm planning on talking to my rep about taking out the seats that I've been sitting in for years. I tell you, I'll come in with my own tools.
While some fans say they'll be sad to leave behind such a historic rink, there is excitement about a new, upgraded facility.
It's due for an upgrade, and the arena is showing its age, and it's having some difficulties and stuff, and it's probably costing a lot of money too.
It's both a combination of excitement, but a bit of sadness down the road when we move on, and it's still a few seasons away, so we'll really take advantage of the time we're still here in TD Place Arena.
Mariner says it doesn't matter where the team plays, he'll be there for every home opener to come.
Every year in this arena, we got to look at it as a last and take it as an opportunity to actually soak it in.
So the 67s taking this one over the Sioux Greyhounds by a score of 7-3, moving to 3-0 on the season. I spoke with Jack Dever during that post-game skate that I mentioned, and he said the atmosphere in this building always makes such a big difference when they come out and play, especially for a game like this. They get returned to the ice October 4th against the Erie Otters. Austin.
Yeah, tons of fun, Josh. And these 67s are on a tear. They're now 3-0 to start the year. So looking forward to more action. CTV's Josh Morano reporting live for us tonight. Josh, thank you. A 75-year-old woman from Gatineau is proving that you're never too old to take a leap of faith. Linda Wood and her 3 granddaughters jumped out of an airplane this weekend, and it was about more than simply checking something off of her bucket list. As CTV's Caitlin Wilson shows us, it was all in support of a cause that's near and dear to her heart.
Nervous at all? No. It's the kind of thing Linda Wood always dreamed of, sitting on the edge of an airplane roughly 12,000 feet in the air, ready to jump.
It was, I would do it again right now. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
But this jump wasn't just about the thrill. It's about something far more meaningful.
I wanted to raise awareness that it exists, and I think we've done that.
For the past 12 years, Linda has volunteered with Hospice Care Ottawa, comforting families, driving around patients, and even gardening. So when it came time to mark her 75th birthday, she turned a lifelong dream into a fundraiser.
A lot of people just think of a residence, where people go and it's the end of their life. But there's more to hospice than just that. Hospice care is also caring for people that have life-limiting illness while they're on their own.
So far, she's raised more than $7,000, but she didn't do it alone. 3 of her granddaughters suited up and jumped with her, turning a personal milestone into a shared mission.
I think that when people hear you're going to jump out of a plane, you don't think like, oh, you're going to go and do it with your grandma. But I'm really grateful that I get to do it with her.
And if you know Linda, you know this isn't out of character.
It was only like a couple years ago. She went to Africa and went like in the see animals and what. Like she's just always done like crazy things like that. So it's not really that surprising.
Even in the free fall, her heart was right where it's always been.
Thank you so much for donating to Hospice Care Ottawa. And this is so much fun. You gotta do it.
Back on solid ground, it's a birthday she'll never forget. And if you're wondering how she plans to top it,
Anika has some ideas for that. She said, oh, Grandma, I know what you can do on your 80th. She says, we can go down a live volcano. We'll see.
Caitlin Wilson, CTV News.
You cannot count on China honoring any agreement you make with it unless it suits the Communist Party to do so.
As Canada explores new trade partnerships, many are stressing caution when it comes to talks with China. We'll have those details after the break. Before we go to break, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It's currently 23 degrees. At least 2 people are dead and 8 others wounded after a shooting at a Mormon church in Grand Blanc, Michigan.
What we know right now
is a 40-year-old suspect from Burton. He's a male. He drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure.
You can see that thick smoke billowing from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Officers say they exchanged fire with the suspected gunman, and they killed him. The FBI are now on the scene and will be leading the investigation. Police do not yet have a motive. Well, Prime Minister Mark Carney has spent the last several days in London meeting with world leaders from several other nations. The focus of his meetings, trade. CTV's Jeremy Sharon has the latest from the UK.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's London trip wraps up now several weeks that have been focused on building international partnerships. While here in the UK, the Prime Minister met with Prime Ministers of 4 other countries, including Keir Starmer here in the UK. He also had meetings with business leaders and investors, all things he called necessary to the Prime Minister's plan to continue to strengthen relationships in the face of a trade war with U.S. President Donald Trump. He's also says he's looking to attract business interest and gain access to new markets for Canadian businesses. While doing so, though, he has faced some criticism. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has said Prime Minister Carney is jetting around but getting nothing done. Again, the Prime Minister defends his recent trips, including this one to London, a recent trip to Mexico, his time at the UN General Assembly in New York. All things he says are necessary to the end goal of diversifying Canada's partnerships with new countries in the face of that trade war. But now the Prime Minister returns home. He'll be in Ottawa for the next few weeks, where his focus will shift to domestic issues. He is likely to face that criticism now face-to-face in the House of Commons, but will also spend the next few weeks heavily focused on his first budget, which is expected in just over a month. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, London.
And as we just heard there from Jeremy, we are just over a month away from the federal budget unveiling the federal government unveiling its fall budget. The interim parliamentary budget officer is warning that Canada's fiscal outlook is at the, quote, precipice. Here's what he had to say in an interview on CTV's Question Period.
I think for parliamentarians, and certainly I think all Canadians are very much aware of the challenging economic times that we're in, and the fact that we're going to have more challenging times as we go forward, both in terms of trying to manage the deficit. So there isn't a lot of fiscal space the government has to actually work with at this point, but I think also more broadly looking at the restructuring of the Canadian economy.
Interim Parliamentary Budget Officer Jason Jakes estimates the budget will post an annual deficit of $68.5 billion this year. Last year, the deficit sat at $51.7 billion. Jakes says Canada must restructure its economy, but says it must also deal with a narrow path when it comes to supporting hard-hit sectors. The federal government is expected to table its long-delayed budget, the first with Mark Carney as Prime Minister, on November 4th. And the Prime Minister's trip to the UK comes just days after meeting with leadership in China, signaling a potential for a new phase between those two countries. But there are some voices urging caution as Canada establishes to move new relations between the two nations. CTV senior political correspondent Mike Lecouture explains why.
Tuesday's meeting was years in the making. With U.S. tariffs still in place, Canada is looking to China as a way to diversify trading relationships.
We had very constructive set of discussions which built on earlier phone calls.
But many are calling on Prime Minister Carney to be cautious, including former diplomat Michael Kovrig, who was imprisoned in China for nearly 3 years.
You cannot count on China honoring any agreement you make with it unless it suits the Communist Party to do so.
It's why Kovrig warns against dropping tariffs on Chinese EVs in exchange for China doing the same on Canadian canola.
You risk giving up sovereignty and giving away too much leverage to China if you do those things. And in the case of electric vehicles, you risk completely hollowing out the entire supply chain.
Add to that, the UGG Commission found China was one of the most active perpetrators of foreign interference in Canada. In 2023, Canada's spy agency informed NDP MP Jenny Kwan that she is an evergreen target of Chinese electoral interference.
The Trump administration is threatening our sovereignty through tariff attacks. India and China and other countries are threatening our sovereignty and our democracy through foreign interference.
Some former diplomats believe it's better to have those conversations in person.
China is an important market that we have to deal with the country. And in fact, for those difficult issues, it's better to have a dialogue and to meet and to discuss in a frank manner these problems.
That message is expected to be delivered by Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand, who will travel to China next month. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
It's got bigger and better every year. I can tell because our food's better every year.
The world's most popular road hockey tournament in support of cancer research returns. We'll have more on that when we come back.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Is that doggy in the window? Whoop, whoop.
Oh, that's a classic banger. This is another surefire sign that fall is here. The 4th annual Fall Farm Fest went ahead at the Just Food Community Farm this afternoon. The event is in partnership with the Gloucester Emergency Food Cupboard and the Eastern Ontario Resources Centre. It offered tons of free activities. There was live music, as we heard off the top, art displays, and of course some delicious food for everyone. And again, a sign that fall is here, but it certainly doesn't feel like it the way the sun is shining. Look at this, nothing but sun. Perfect day to enjoy some time along the water on the Rideau Canal. Some people were out boating. There's a friendly fella giving us a wave. Hey, buddy. It was also a great day to be out jogging, out for a bike ride, or even catch some waves on the water. A little whitewater raft in there on the canal, or I don't know if you call it whitewater. It's the canal, so maybe brown water rafting. Either way, fun times to be had, that's for sure. Beautiful conditions across Ottawa. Not much in the way of cloud activity to show you on our satellite radar. So let's start out east. 21 degrees right now in St. John's, or rather Charlottetown. St. John's is at 10 degrees. Pretty big difference there, Austin. It's 17 degrees right now in Halifax, 23 in Fredericton, so warm out on the East Coast for a lot of those regions. Right now we're sitting at 22, and right across Ontario and Quebec, beautiful conditions, sunny sky, very, very little in the way of cloud coverage, as I mentioned. It's a scorcher out in Winnipeg right now. That's the hot spot in the country at 27 degrees. Some cloud coverage and a little bit of rain over the course of today in Calgary with 15 degrees as their current temperature, 17 out on the west coast in Vancouver. We're dipping down to 8 tonight, but clear conditions will persist into tomorrow with that high of 26 by tomorrow afternoon. Along the Ottawa Valley, a little bit cooler, but still a glorious day for them in store. 25 is the high for tomorrow afternoon, and 26 along the Seaway. So copy and paste Ottawa's conditions and temperatures. That's what you'll get along the Seaway as well. And you can see here in the 7-day forecast that, yeah, it's going to be really nice for a while. Even though the lows are dipping below double digits, you can see a pretty cool overnight low on Thursday, that high of 18 dipping down to 3 degrees. But the sun is going to continue shining all throughout the next week. There will be some cloud coverage into next weekend, but still, for this time of year, I think we'll take it. In Vaughan, Ontario, the world's largest road hockey tournament hit the pavement, but the event is focused on more than just winning the game on the street. CTV's Raheem Ladani has that story.
Game on cancer. The puck has dropped for the 14th annual Princess Margaret Road Hockey to Conquer Cancer.
It's got bigger and better every year. I can tell because our food's better every year.
From hockey celebrities like Wendell Clark, more than 1,500 people are tying their runners and grabbing a stick, facing off and fueling life-saving cancer research.
We're using our sport of hockey, which we're the best at in the world here in Canada. We're using it to raise money. It takes a lot of money to do a lot of things, to figure things out for the doctors, to learn things, get better at something. So Hey, if this is one way to raise great money and it's the people that are coming out to play a little hockey, and if we can have some fun with them, let's hopefully raise some great money.
Just take a look around to see how many people, are affected by cancer, and, what better cause to rally behind, and what better sport than road hockey.
This year alone, the event has raised $3.2 million, bringing the total funds raised to $36 million.
So much progress has been made against cancer in the past 14 years. We now have more immunotherapies. CAR T-cell therapy was not around 14 years ago, and surgical and radiation medicine techniques have all improved too. We're saving more lives every day.
The money raised continues to go towards breakthrough discoveries in early detection, innovative treatments, and supportive care, which offer better opportunities to improve patient cancer outcomes.
Our mission is to create a world free from the fear of cancer. So the $3.2 million that we're raising today is going to help us get there so that people who are diagnosed with cancer today have more and more options.
While the teams are battling on the pavement in Vaughan, everyone here has a shared goal in mind, to create a world free from the fear of cancer. And leading that charge is Canada's largest cancer charity.
Having had a first-hand opportunity to see a loved one many years ago receive exceptional care at Princess Margaret, I know like you do, how truly magical this team is.
A reminder that it's not about the score on the street, it's about beating cancer. Rahim Ladani, CTV News.
A close call in Waterloo is prompting police to remind drivers right across the province to slow down in school zones and to stop for crossing guards. It comes after a motorist was caught ignoring the rules earlier this month. CTV's Colton Weens has that story.
Morning. Stopping you for not stopping for the crossing guard.
Yeah. Waterloo Regional Police posting this video from earlier this month online, showing a driver ignoring a crossing guard with their stop sign up and driving right past the person outside St. Nicholas Catholic Elementary School in Waterloo.
There's no excuse at all. I mean, you're putting the lives of children in danger. You're putting the life of the crossing guard in danger. It's just inappropriate driving behavior.
Crossing guards are there to support the community, to support kids going to school, and they deserve all the respect that they should get from drivers.
Police quickly pulled the driver over, who admitted knowing they needed to stop, but tried to give a reason for ignoring the crossing guard anyways.
You got a group of kids on the other side of the road. They're way on the other side of the road. They're not entering the street until the crossing guard's out, right? There's no chance of me hitting anybody.
But the officer quickly explaining that's against the law.
That's not how it works, so keep in mind it's for the crossing guard safety too, right? When they're going across, no one wants a car whizzing by them when they're this close.
I think it was also great to hear the police officer's reaction to what the driver had to say about the excuse that he had, in knowing that he was wrong and knowing that he was disobeying the law, but nonetheless proceeding anyways, and seeing the consequences for that.
The driver was issued a $365 ticket for not stopping for the crossing guard stop sign. Wilkinson says it's an issue that happens all too often.
Oftentimes we'll also hear about drivers that creep up on crossing guards. So instead of a full stop, they'll come to a rolling stop. And that's a scary situation as well for crossing guards who aren't sure whether that driver is actually going to stop.
In Ontario, drivers and cyclists must completely stop and remain stopped until a school crossing guard stop sign is lowered and all children and the guard have cleared the entire roadway. The city says it works with police when incidents like this happen, and their guards are tested each year before they're put out on the road. Colton Weens, CTV News, Waterloo.
To have a one-size-fits-all approach might not make sense in the long-term safety measures.
Still ahead, questions are being raised around the Ontario government's changes to parking rules around daycares. A 100th birthday is obviously a huge celebration, and each one that comes after that is even bigger. Well, in case you missed it this week, a Barrhaven resident turned 107 years old. Marian Anderson was surrounded by loved ones as she rang in her special day. CTV's Natalie Van Roy has the story.
For 107-year-old Marion Anderson, this special birthday feels like any other day.
I hadn't planned such a tremendous crowd to be here. I thought we'd just get through it like every other day.
Anderson, born in September 1918.
Starting to grow up there.
A mother of 3 boys, she raised her family in the nation's capital.
Just growing up and having friends and having fun. Eventually marrying somebody that lived with me for almost 70 years.
And there's a reason she doesn't look her age.
You don't put soap on your face. It makes wrinkles.
I think, like she said, maybe just living a simple life, not getting too ahead of yourself, a little sherry every day.
Anderson has lived through moments of history.
Remember the wars. One finished and then another one started. And I was quite able to understand everything about the Second World War, because I was a young woman then, a teenager.
Throughout her life, Anderson loved camping, traveling, working as a hairdresser, and spending time with her family. She was a talented quilt maker and in the 90s won Best Quilt of the Show at the Carp Fair.
It was a little bit above special. Oh no, I made literally hundreds of quilts, and I made for the babies at the hospital.
Good years of health and happiness, signed Mark Sutcliffe and David Hill.
For her, the greatest gift, to be surrounded by her loved ones on her special day. Natalie Van Roy, CTV News.
Questions are being raised around the Ontario government's changes to parking rules around daycares. Earlier this month, childcare facilities were asked to block parking spaces where kids could be in danger following a deadly crash in Richmond Hill. But as CTV's Alexandra Hollick tells us, some daycares want more clarity.
From dumpsters to pylons to playground benches, Emmanuel Early Learning and Care in Waterloo is doing everything it can to stay within the lines.
The Ministry of Education sent a memo to all childcare operators asking them to immediately bar parking in parking spots adjacent to playgrounds and childcare facilities. So that is what we did.
The province taking action after a 70-year-old man crashed his car through the window of a Richmond Hill daycare earlier this month, killing a toddler and injuring several others.
Our location is quite different from that location, so to have a one-size-fits-all approach might not make sense in the long-term safety measures that the Ministry of Education is trying to implement.
In an email to CTV News, a ministry spokesperson says the current closures are temporary until protective barriers like bollards or planters are installed. But protection comes with a hefty price tag.
I have received a few quotes. They're between $20,000 and $35,000, depending on the type of barrier, which, as a nonprofit childcare, we don't have the funds for.
The daycare operator also raising safety concerns unique to its other location in Baden.
The parking lot is smaller. Right now, temporarily, we're asking staff to park across the road. So that is, again, it's a temporary solution, but it is not a good long-term strategy.
In the meantime, they're asking the province for direction around protection,
particularly around whether or not funding will be provided to install the safety barriers, which we do agree should be implemented.
The ministry says it's exploring options to support childcare operators and prevent bureaucratic barriers from getting in the way. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Waterloo.
Two again. And a drive to deep left field.
One of the hottest teams in baseball looks to end their season on a high note. They're certainly making Canadian fans proud. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It is time to share details on some of the stories you need to know right now. And CTV's Kimberly Fowler joins us live with those details. Kim.
You cat person, Austin?
I'm more of a dog guy. I like cats.
Me too. I agree with you. But if you are a cat person, the perfect event just wrapped up at the Nepean Sportsplex this weekend.
Well, obviously everybody loves to come here and see all the cats, and obviously there's adorable kittens as well for people to look at. Lots of breeders that sell kittens so people could find their new cat or cat-to-be. We also have 2 different rescue communities here as well.
Well, that's a look at the annual Ottawa Cat Show, showcasing purebred and household pet cats, all vying for the title of Best of the Best. Now, the show also featured cat toys, products, pet-related services as well. And the theme for this year's event was Cats in Outer Space. Well, here's a reminder of what will be open and closed on the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on Tuesday. Schools will be open. All stores, malls, and grocery stores are allowed to open. Service Canada offices will be closed. Libraries will be open across the city with special programming. Garbage collection will be on a regular schedule. City service centers will be closed, and OC Transpo, they will be on a regular schedule. And on Tuesday, there are a number of events in Ottawa to mark the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. The National Commemorative Gathering will be held on Parliament Hill. That starts at 3 o'clock. The public is invited to Beechwood Cemetery. That's to take a walk of the grounds for a 45-minute reconciliation tour. There will also be a ceremony. That's at 2:15. The Canadian Museum of History is hosting a morning ceremony at 11 a.m. And for more events, you can check out our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca.
Cousins passe au centre. Stützle veut se faufiler. Le tir à la vue!
The Ottawa Senators taking on the New Jersey Devils in preseason action in Quebec City this afternoon. Now, Tim Stützle drops it back for Stephen Halliday, 4th-round pick for the Sens in 2022. He scores the game's first goal late in the 3rd period. Now, the Sens would add an empty netter for the 2-0 shutout. Ottawa now heads back to the Canadian Tire Centre for more preseason action against the Canadiens on Tuesday night.
And a ground ball fair. Guerrero to Lauer, and they've done it.
And the Toronto Blue Jays have done it. They are your American League East pennant winners for the first time in a decade. It all came down to the last game of the regular season in front of a sold-out crowd at Rogers Centre, and it was a home run derby. They won 13-4 over the Rays. Now, both the Jays and Yankees finished with identical records of 94 and 68, but the Jays secured the tiebreaker in their head-to-head matchups during the year. The Jays will get a first-round bye in the postseason. And now the Yankees and Red Sox, they will face each other in the American League wildcard round. That starts on Tuesday, and the winner of that series will then face the Blue Jays in the ALDS, and that'll be in Toronto on Saturday.
Yeah, Jays fever is real. Even here in Ottawa, a lot of people go into Toronto for the games. I know you have close ties to Toronto.
Absolutely.
Will you be going to any playoff games?
If I can afford a ticket, I will go 100%. Okay. I will be there.
Yeah, what are they going for? What do you think? Are we talking $200-300?
Double that,
Double?
at least.
Really?
At least.
These are guesses. I don't know, folks.
Yeah.
But pretty exciting times. Last time they'd won was, as you mentioned, a decade ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for them.
That was a good year, too.
After the break, one last dance for an NHL legend. Marc-Andre Fleury bids fans and teammates farewell. Before we go to break, a beautiful look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It's currently 21 degrees.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top local stories we're following right now. Honoring fallen police officers and peace officers. The Canadian Police and Peace Officers Memorial Service takes place on Parliament Hill.
Things like this just really shows, everyone's commitment to reconciliation.
Giving tourists and locals a rare look inside the historic Rideau Hall in a special event ahead of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation.
It was, I would do it again right now. Yeah, it was fun. It's fun.
And a special celebration in the sky. How this Gatineau woman spent her 75th birthday raising money for Hospice Care Ottawa. Beautiful day to be jumping out of a plane, too. It was pretty toasty out there. We're going to have the sun shining for quite some time. Waking up to 9 degrees, beautiful sunny conditions carrying over for at least the next 7. A mix of sun and cloud on Friday and Saturday, but we'll take it because we have highs of 21 and 25 degrees on the horizon and a beautiful, just gorgeous week. Really, really nice. Doesn't feel like fall, that's for sure. Sun shining. Coldest day in the next 7 will be 18 degrees on Thursday. Finally for us tonight, an emotional night in Pittsburgh. One of the NHL's best goaltenders of all time strapped on the pads for one final game.
Yes, Marc-Andre Fleury got to say goodbye to Pittsburgh Penguins fans last night.
Now, Fleury actually retired at the end of last season with the Minnesota Wild, but the 40-year-old signed a professional tryout contract with the Pens so that he could play one final period with the team that he spent most of his career with. There's Chris Letang and Brian Rust and all of his other teammates. He played the 3rd period and he made 8 saves, didn't let in a goal, but was also named the game's first star, as of course he would be. Why not?
What a class act. And a classy way to say goodbye to everybody.
No kidding. Honestly, don't know many people that hate on Marc-Andre Fleury. Well loved. Good night, everybody.